Alrighty. Well, didn't hear what I wanted to hear, but we're going to go forward. How about that? My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of FightBackMedia.com, 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 and FightBackMediaTV.com. We are thrilled to have you here on this post-election morning. It is November 9th. The midterm elections were yesterday. The election day was yesterday. The counting is still going on. As they said, it doesn't matter who runs; it matters who counts. And the counting is still going on in almost everywhere in the country except for Florida. You know, over the past couple of years, Florida got a lot of hate from a lot of people. And what we said here as Floridians is you hate us because you want to be us. You hate us because you want to be us. And sometimes Texas got involved and, in some of the trash talking. Congratulations to Governor Abbott for beating down Beto O'Rourke. Do you think that we're done with Beto O'Rourke? No, not at all. Georgia wanted to get into some of the, some of that trash talking too, but, congratulations to Governor Kemp for beating down Stacey Abrams. Is Stacey Abrams done with politics? Not at all. Stacey Abrams doesn't even want to be governor. So we're looking forward to seeing what that looks like in 2 years. Yes, I mean, I'm not going to try to drag this out. Yes, Governor DeSantis won yesterday handily, almost by 20 points over his challenger, Charlie Crist. It was a beat down for the ages here in Florida. Marco Rubio beat Val Demings. It was not a beat down for the ages, but it was pretty strong. We're going to get into all of that and what it looks like moving forward, because this is what's really important. I think that you have to understand what's really important always is the moving forward. We'll do sort of a post-mortem, and then we'll talk about moving forward. Thank you ever so much for popping into the show. We appreciate it. We'll be back right after these messages. Well, hello, everybody. My name is Willie Lawson of FightBackMedia.com. Thank you for coming to our Patreon page, and we are happy to have you here on Patreon. So, this is please forgive me. This is my first video for Patreon, and I'm a little nervous because it's so important that I try to explain to you exactly what Fightback Media is about, what the morning report is about, and Speakeasy and my friend Paul Swanson at the SwansonReport.locals.com. The idea behind Fightback Media is fairly simple. As most things are simple in concept, but more difficult in practice. Fightback Media exists to push back the legacy media narrative, and in general and specifically where it concerns communities of color. The mainstream media or the legacy media would have you believe that every person of color is a liberal Democrat. When we know is that that's not true, and it's never been true, and actually more than ever, it's becoming definitely not true. As people who are people of color are seeing the damage being caused by liberal Democrats in a lot of our major cities, especially in our All right, welcome back. Thank you ever so much for spending some time with us this morning. Again, it is November 9th, or I'm thinking October. It's November 9th, the day after Election Day. Across the fruited plains, I trust that you are well today. Looks like we may get some rain later on. You probably heard there is a tropical storm out there that may end up being a Cat 1 storm. For the most part, if you're a lifelong Floridian like I am, you can't get me out of bed for anything less than a Category 3 storm. Um, you just can't. The worst thing that can happen in a Category 1 storm is that that it moves slowly and it just rains on you and rains on you and rains on you, and the sewers back up, and you have some, have some local flooding. Um, but this storm doesn't seem to be doing that. It seems to be moving pretty quickly. So there isn't, although the state of emergency from the governor's office has already happened, there doesn't really seem to be that sort of urgency. I talked to people yesterday, they were like, there's a storm coming? Really? The rest of the country, their relatives around the country are going, oh my goodness, you guys are okay. Florida is bracing for another storm. And people in Florida are like, there's a storm coming? We kind of need the rain. That's really, we kind of need the rain. And that's what's happening. So, and news media is like, it's a major storm. It's a dangerous. Okay. If for whatever reason you need to evacuate because you live in a low-lying area where continuous rain may be a problem, then please do that. Then please do that. If however, most of us, literally most of us, have seen storms like this and worse, and it's not a big deal. For those of you who live other places who are wondering, what's going on in Florida? My God, they've had 2 hurricanes. A few years ago, we had 4 in 6 weeks. Big storms, 4 in 6 weeks. And bizarrely enough, somehow, we're still here. We are still here. We had 4 in 6 weeks and we're still here. Let's see if I can share this screen with you so you can watch this video and while I commentate on what's happening here. Let's see here. Let's see here. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and click on that button right there. And as you can see, here is the state of Florida right here. You can see the state of Florida right there. And we're going to go ahead and crank up the video. Here's there's a storm, and forget these people. They tell the war stories. That's storm. That's tropical. The orange is tropical storm winds, and it's moving pretty quickly. So it's supposed to be onshore tomorrow morning here, but the course of the storm has been moving eastward the entire time. Eastward. Now, that means that it's been making this arc here, and that's just forecasting. That's not what's happening right now. But it's been moving north. It's been taking that angle right there. You see, it's been doing that further to the east. So there is a good chance that storm maybe just goes up the East Coast a little bit and then back out into the sea. That's what I'm praying. That's what I'm used to, and that's what we're probably going to see. And I wanted to go ahead and address that right away, because a lot of people who watch this show or listen to the podcast, there a lot of you are very sweet. You're always wondering, everything okay, Willie? Is everything? Are you guys okay? Are you good with the storm? Yeah, because you just watch this stuff and you don't know. So you need somebody who is here to let you know what the deal really is. Again, there are some people who are like, say I saw it work going, there's a storm? What storm? Exactly. Because what doesn't normally happen is that we don't get, especially on this coast, a lot of damage from storms that come in on the East Coast and cross the state. The state's big enough to where most of the storm is dissipated if it crosses that much dirt. So anyway, we're fine. Speaking of dirt, it seems like it may be time it may be time to throw some dirt on the Florida Democrat Party. It may be done. Let's show you the map. Let's go to the map, Bill, because we can do that here on the morning report. Let's go to the map. This is the map of the gubernatorial race here in the state of Florida. The red areas of Florida are the counties that Ron DeSantis won. Yeah, pretty freaking amazing. Tallahassee, if you're wondering, why they got Tallahassee on the map? Tallahassee is our state capital, and that's where two major universities are. Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, we call it FAMU. Actually, you call it FAMU, we call it FAM. And then Florida State University are in Tallahassee. And then we have in that blue area in the middle of the state, north of Orlando, south of Jacksonville, is Alachua County. Alachua County is where the University of Florida is, in Gainesville. And then, of course, we have this melting pot where people come from all over the world to live, to live in and around the Mouse in Orlando, Orlando, and Walt Disney World. That's also where the University of Central Florida is. You see how this is playing out? All right. And then all the way down to the bottom of the state, where we have West Palm Beach, which is a county that Republicans don't normally win, and Ron DeSantis probably did not win in 2 years ago. And then, of course, the Miami-Dade area, which is to the very south there. You see Miami there. And that Fort Lauderdale area there, just above it, that's not quite red. He has moved the needle there and done an incredible job. Incredible job. So if you're wondering, if anybody is wondering, is Florida now a red state? Yeah, kind of is. It was a purple state for a long time, but not so much now. It's a red state. It showed out. It showed up and showed out. Republicans showed up and showed out. Ron DeSantis won 59.4% to Charlie Crist 40%, nearly a 20% butt whipping. Over 1.5 million votes. That is absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. When you think about 4 years ago, Ron DeSantis was trailing with a week to go by some 9 points in the poll, and managed to eke out a little bit more than a 1% victory. And when you figure in how much vitriol the dude has taken, especially during COVID and all of that stuff, done pretty well. Done pretty well. We're going to talk a little bit more about Ron DeSantis at the end of the program. Let's go ahead and get to the Senate race, which was the other highly talked about race here in Florida between Marco Rubio and Val Demings. A lot of people thought Val Demings should be the vice presidential pick for Joe Biden. You know what? If I were a Democrat, I would have chosen Val Demings over Kamala Harris any time, every single flipping time. I think the Biden administration made a huge mistake in leaving out Val Demings. Val Demings is formidable. Wow. So that actually makes it so Marco Rubio has done very, very well here. Won 57.7%, pretty much, if you look at the map, pretty much mirroring, except for Palm Beach County, as you can see, and some of the other areas that we just talked about, the North Florida area around Tallahassee, major universities, Alachua County in the middle of the state, major university, or Orlando, another major university. We have Miami, the University of Miami, and South Florida. South Florida is notoriously New York South, New York and Boston South. They just, I don't know why. They come from here in this area and they want to retire and live and act like Democrats here. I don't understand, but that's what they do. Um, so those are the major races going on here in Florida. Um, of the 28 House seats in the state of Florida, the Republicans have 20 of them. Again, to give you an idea of what's actually going on here in Florida. Let's go ahead and stop this share if I can get the mouse to work. I need to redo the monitors so the mice make sense. Yeah, because right now I'd like to move from this screen here that I'm seeing you on to my share screen, which is over here. And if you see my Facebook page, you know that the setup is growing. The setup is growing. It's gonna get good in a little bit. I promise it's gonna get good. Hang on, because next year it's gonna get good. It's already good now because I'm good, but it's gonna be like, oh my goodness, Martha. Um, but of the 28 seats, I know, squirrel. The 28 seats that are in the Florida House, there are 20 of them are owned by Republicans. So, Republican. This is a very much Republican state now. And I think thanks to the work of the Republican Party of Florida, which I am not always in agreement with, and especially our local party, not always in agreement with, but the proof of the pudding is in the eating. You know, Biden said that, and people got crazy, but that's actually what the saying is. The proof is in the pudding. Proof is in the eating of the pudding, and you can't argue results. You cannot argue results. And that's what we're going to talk about in the next segment of the program, the results. What happened around the country, hyperbole, how dangerous hyperbole is, and what actually happened. All right, we'll be back right after these messages. Well, hey everybody, my name is Willie Lawson, and you guys know that I do a lot of stuff on the internet. And you may think with what's happening on Twitter and what's happening on Facebook and what happened to Parler that the mainstream social media sources are really trying to rid themselves of conservative voices. And you'd be right. They most certainly are. But you know what? It isn't as bad as you think it is. It's worse. But there are people who are willing to be platformed for free speech. One of those places is freedomforum.website. Freedomforum.website. You can go there and speak your mind. So come join us. Enjoy the freedom. Enjoy the fun. If you are a true blue conservative, small businesses are near and dear to your heart. They are the lifeblood of our life and economy. I believe this, and that's why my florist is not a website or phone number. My florist is Blooming Days Flower Shop, Tampa's premier flower shop. At 11618 North Florida Avenue here in Tampa, Florida, and at 6835 State Road 54 in Newport Richey. Call Christine at 813-933-1942 and at 727-232-6900. She can also be reached on the web at www.bloomingdays.com. One of the things that I get asked most is where can I get information that is not tainted with liberal bias, especially here in the Tampa Bay area. Well, now I have the answer. tbctampa.com, a website by and for Tampa area conservatives. Tampa's leading conservative voices speak freely at tbctampa.com, and you can too. So join the fun and enjoy the freedom at tbctampa.com. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Morning Report. So is it okay now, because it was, during the Trump administration, it is okay to talk about the president's...
Yeah. We talked about mental health elderly, so let's talk about this guy's mental health.
The president's mental acuity, because there's sometimes where it seems to be lacking. Have you seen...
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes it's especially bad. I'm talking about sometimes it's like really bad. Like, have you seen the picture?
I was told not to take any questions.
I was told not to take any questions. They're going to be mad at me.
They're going to be mad at me.
Mr.
President, are you the president, or were you five?
You see, what I want... See, the next question is... excuse me,
I was told to call on what you call for NBC. Who's telling you to call on?
That's the question that we ought to be asking. Who's telling you this?
I don't understand why nobody won't ask that question.
Is Jen Psaki actually the president?
Who's telling you to call on these people in the media?
Is Jen Psaki actually the president?
Probably so.
Again, welcome back. My name is Willie Lawson. This is the Morning Report. The Morning Report is a production of FightBackMedia.com, 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 and FightBackMediaTV.com. We appreciate you being here. It's a glorious day. It's a fantastic day. It's a little cloudy out. It's going to rain today. It rains a lot of days in Florida. We are in the summertime. We're at the end of summer junior. We're about to have about a minute and a half of autumn before we get to our 30 seconds of winter, before we get back to summer junior, and then summer junior, and and the process starts again. The danger of hyperbole. Hyperbole is spelled hyperbole. If you're ever wondered what that word was when you saw it and you went, hyperbole, the word is hyperbole. Of using language that is inflammatory, over the top, and we do that a lot. The hyperbolic term that was used in this election cycle was red wave, because because when you say things like there's going to be a red wave, people can always later on, no matter how successful you are, diminish your accomplishments because you use such an over-the-top term. Well, what I have done, I would have said we're going to do very well in places that we've not done well in before. And then we can look at particular races and go, we've done very well in this race, but we have not done well before. We are moving the needle. People are hearing our message and responding. And that seems like a tempered approach, but I think a tempered approach is good strategy. I've been thinking about this for the past couple of days, my friends, so sit down and get a pencil out. No, get a pencil. Get a damn pencil. Um, Back when the Tea Party movement started, a lot of really concerned citizens got involved into politics that had never been involved in politics, and that's fine. That was necessary, and I believe it's still necessary. The struggle is that a lot of those folks are good people. Good people. I work with a lot of them. Got involved for emotional reasons. They were upset. They weren't concerned. They were upset. They were angry. They were pissed off. So they started doing what they could do. They went to rallies. They went to rallies and heard speeches and got them all jacked up because rallies and speeches are about emotion. Rallies and speeches are not about, they're not classrooms where you go, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, you know, where there are links given out to find out information on your own. That's not what rallies are. Rallies are pep rallies. Teams that lose have pep rallies. Did you know that? Teams that lose have pep rallies. University of Miami had a huge pep rally earlier this week because it was homecoming, and then Florida State shows up and beats them 45-3. So even losing teams have pep rallies. So these rallies that are being held around the country and that were held during the Tea Party movement and then afterwards were just based on getting people excited, which means getting them emotional, building up enthusiasm, which is an emotional approach, which is not a strategic approach. And I've been saying since then, if you can go back and listen to all my podcasts, you can listen to watch all my videos that are here on YouTube that not on Rumble but on YouTube, that we lack a strategery. Thank you, George Bush, to our method. There's a madness to our method, but there's not a strategery. I love that word. It's not really a word, but I'm going to keep saying it because I like it. To our method, there's an emotionality. And there's an emotionality that is similar to the left because we're talking about people. I wish that the strategic side would dominate over the emotional side, because the emotional side builds up phrases like red wave and builds up all these things that could and often fail. Speaking of could and often, let's look at Pennsylvania. Let's look at the Pennsylvania map real quick. Let's see if we can get there. Boom, golly, I'm about to get good at this. There we go. Here's the Pennsylvania map. You see all this red here? Erie County, Erie up there, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Allentown. This is the senatorial map for the state of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, we all know John Fetterman and Mehmet Oz, Dr. Oz. As the election, as the cycle went on and the press went on, it was like, you know what, we have a chance to win this. We can win this. We can win this. And then after the so-called debate, where Fetterman was awful, by the way, I mean just awful. A lot of the quote conservative / Republican sources kept feeding in this. I mean, this was going to be the beginning of the wave, of the red wave, and Mehmet Oz was going to win this seat. But you know what? Reality says this. Reality says that a lot of these counties in Pennsylvania are fairly conservative counties, farmland, that kind of stuff. But I heard the phrase last night, and I know I just didn't hear it last night. It's been out there before. Land doesn't vote; people vote. A lot of this is farmland. So let's look at the blue areas up near Erie and Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Allentown, and a few other places are population centers. Unless you can go into these population centers and make a a sizable dent. You don't have to win them, but you have to move the needle. You're simply not going to win these elections. All the bright red that you see is emotion. The blue is the lack of strategery. Gotta love that word. Which results in this right here. John Fetterman won that election 50.3% to Mehmet Oz's 47.3%. Now, there was a real live non-celebrity Republican in the primary, but celebrity and emotion won the day there. And this is what you got. Celebrity and emotion won the day there. And this is what you got. All right. Let me pop that out of there. All right. Now, the next race that everybody was looking at was the Katie Hobbs Kari Lake race in Arizona, right? Right? A lot of emotion behind that. A lot of, we really like her. She's great. And she is like, she doesn't take crap from anybody. It's all emotion. Not much strategy. Not at all. All sizzle. All sizzle. But the sizzle is important, but it was all sizzle. Here is, let me click on this. I'm about to get good at this. Maybe someday I'll get good at this. There we go. Arizona. No bright blue, and this contest is still going on. No bright blue, no bright red. But as you can see, there is Phoenix and Tucson, two of the largest areas in the state, right? Look what color they are. They lean blue. And a lot of this land that is in the Burgundy is just land. It's just dirt. Not many people live in those counties. Not many people at all. Oh, you want to ask where Maricopa County is? Maricopa County is right here. You can see where that is, right? In and around Phoenix, that's Maricopa County. That's the county that you've heard about. Let's go ahead and look at the numbers right now. Katie Hobbs is leading 50.9% to Kari Lake's 49.1%. About 30,000 votes separate them. And let me see, with 63% of the precincts reporting. Actually, a lot of the other counties have almost 85% reporting. Right now, Maricopa County only had 63% reporting. Yes, you heard that 60 or so polling stations in Maricopa County, the most populous county, had problems yesterday. And you also know that Katie Hobbs is the Secretary of State of the state of Arizona, and the Secretary of State is responsible for how elections are run. This is why Kari Lake got involved in this process in the first place. And she was really good at getting on TV and scolding the press and being a female Trump. But how much work do they do where it matters? Strategy. How much work do they do where it matters? Doesn't seem like much. Love hearing the adoring crowds, but that is about all. And the adoring crowds are fine. It's wonderful. It's encouraging. But the work is done in a place where they don't want you to be. The work is done where they're going to throw a White Claw at you. A White Claw? Really? Really? A White Claw. What I'm talking about is in the Astros celebration parade. Ted Cruz was in that parade, and some 33-year-old decided that he would throw his White Claw at a sitting senator. He was caught, was arrested. It's not going to work out well for him. It was a ridiculously stupid decision, but it was typical of people on the left, I think. But that's what you thought you'd do. You throw a can of White Claw at somebody. How do you know it was his? It's got his fingerprints on it. Oh, people saw him do it, and it's got his fingerprints on it. Yeah, it was him. He admitted to it. Dumb. Absolutely stupid. Ted Cruz was uninjured. Glad to hear that. It could be bad, you get hit in the eye, lose an eye, or cause a brain bleed, fish in the head. All sorts of bad things can happen when somebody hits you with, in the head with a full can of White Claw. Might turn you into a beta male. I don't know why dudes drink. I don't know why dudes drink like White Claw. It's sort of the equivalent to during when I was a young man. Dudes that drank wine coolers. What are you drinking, bro? The wine cooler. So you're drinking Kool-Aid? You're drinking some cheap wine with some fizz in it? A wine cooler? Why don't you just have a root beer? I don't know, man. Anyway, in any case, we need to take a little break and finish up. I want to talk about something that you don't want to talk about. I want to talk about Trumpfluence and moving forward. So is it okay now, because it was, during the Trump administration, it is okay to talk about the president's
Yeah. We talked about mental health elderly, so let's talk about this guy's mental health.
The president's mental acuity, because there's sometimes where it seems to be lacking. Have you seen?
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes it's especially bad. I'm talking about sometimes it's like really bad. Like, have you seen the picture?
I was told not to take any questions.
I was told not to take any questions. They're going to be mad at me.
They're going to be mad at me.
Mr.
President, are you the president, or were you five?
You see, what I want. See, the next question is, excuse me,
I was told to call on what you call it for NBC. Who's telling you to call on?
That's the question that we ought to be asking. Who's telling you this?
I don't understand why nobody won't ask that question.
Is Jen Psaki actually the president?
Who's telling you to call on these people in the media?
Is Jen Psaki actually the president?
Probably so.
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Willie Lawson of FightBackMedia.com. Thank you for coming to our Patreon page, and we are happy to have you here on Patreon. So, please forgive me. This is my first video for Patreon, and I'm a little nervous because it's so important that I try to explain to you exactly what Fightback Media is about, what the morning report is about, and Speakeasy, and my friend Paul Swanson at theswansonreport.locals.com. The idea behind Fightback Media is fairly simple, as most things are simple in concept, but more difficult in practice. Fightback Media exists to push back the legacy media narrative, and in general, and specifically where it concerns communities of color. The mainstream media or the legacy media would have you believe that every person of color is a liberal Democrat. When we know is that that's not true, and it's never been true, and actually more than ever, it's becoming definitely not true. As people who are people of color are seeing the damage being caused by liberal Democrats in a lot of our major cities, especially in our All right, we're back. Thank you ever so much for spending some extra time with us today. And what we're going to close on today is something that a lot of you are you're not going to care for. But I think I need to do this, and I've been praying about it for the past couple of days. As you know, I've always been people who follow me through my podcasting career, both on just audio podcasts and videos. I've always known that I've spoken my mind all the time. I think about things, I pray about things, and then I share them with you as I see them. And I think it may be time to at least to begin to consider that Donald Trump may not be the only answer to what ails our nation. I talked to someone the other day, and their feeling about 2024. Now we can talk about 2024. Is that Trump didn't really get his first term like he was supposed to get. I'm not sure what they mean by that, but okay, because there's always going to be opposition, always, always, always. And he was supposed to win in 2020. Okay, maybe. There are definitely abnormalities. There isn't any way to deny that there were abnormalities, things that just don't add up. Like Joe Biden getting 81 million votes, getting more votes than the first black president. That doesn't make any sense to me. And there are all sorts of other things, Maricopa County, all sorts of things around the country that don't make any sense to me. So okay, it's not outside the realm of possibility. I mean, that this idea that it is outside the realm of possibility that there was some, abnormalities going on around the country vote wise is ridiculous. That is as ridiculous as any theory about voting machines and whatever. To think that there was no possibility at all, that there was not some crap going on. However, and I think that those people should be brought to justice. How about that? Whether they will be or not, my thought is no. But I think it may be time to consider that maybe Donald Trump is not the savior of the nation. Actually, I've been saying this all along. Donald Trump is not the savior of the nation. And I know you're saying, so you think that Ron DeSantis is? No, I think that we are. I've always thought this. I've always thought this. I've always said this phrase that I took from Barack Obama. We are the ones that we have been waiting on. That we have been waiting for. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. This idea that we're waiting for this white, this knight on a white horse to come and rescue us all, like we're some sort of damsel in distress, is a stupid thought. And this cult of personality is also stupid. I saw the very same thing, and I said this early on, before the 2016 election. I saw the very same thing going on during the Obama years. This cult of personality. I remember driving through an area of town that was not a black area of town. Some kids out there were sometimes going, Obama, Obama, Obama. Had a little rhythm thing going to it. Like this chant. Weird. Yeah. They were beating the drum. And there was what? There was marketing, catchphrases, logos. Sound familiar? Short-lived though this time, right? Short-lived. So maybe that's not the best way to go. Maybe policy over executive orders. Maybe I don't know. Statesmanship over hyperbole. maybe it's time to make sure that if we are trying that if we're saying that we want to preserve our system, our republic, is that we trust the system of the republic, and part of that is that if we're going to have a political party, that the political party isn't sold out to one person, that the party is still open to as many views. This whole big tent stuff that Republicans talk about all the time, that it still is, and that the process should go forward. So if someone wants to run against Donald Trump in the primary, probably that's not a bad idea, and that should be welcomed. That should be welcomed by the people of the party. It should be welcomed, no matter who it is. It could be Liz Cheney. God knows I don't have any for Liz Cheney, but if she wants to throw her, her beanie in, into the ring and get crushed by me or whomever, then she should have the ability to do so. Whether that's Liz Cheney, whether that's I don't know, the milkman, yeah, from rough president a couple times. You know what I'm talking about. Mitt Romney. Oh, good God. Yeah, and I don't have any. I mean, there's no love lost between me and Mitt Romney either. Yeah, that'd be fine. Or Ron DeSantis. And then we work it out. We would, we would go through the process. And then whoever won the primaries and was the party nominee, then we would go forward with that. That doesn't seem like a bad idea. And then Marco Rubio could show up, or whomever could show up. I think we missed an opportunity with some other folks, with Ben Carson, and we missed an opportunity then, but that's water under the bridge. But this idea that Donald Trump is the only one and should be the only one in 2024, I think is a mistake, a horrific mistake, and it's not Republican. It's not a conservative choice. There, I said it. All right, we got to get out of here, maybe for somebody else. So until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We'll see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.